welcome back to Cruising as Crew. My name is Lucy and today we are going to be going through 10 things that I wish I knew about dating and relationships before I came on board cruise ships. So the first thing is relationships usually start as hookups. Cruise ships aren't really the right environment to look for a relationship, so it always makes me laugh a little bit when people come on and they're like, I'm looking for love. I'm like, you have absolutely come to the wrong place, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to start dating someone from a different country, so that is just going to make things a lot more difficult. And because no one is actively seeking a relationship, the dating culture isn't really there. Like, no one's taking people out on dates. And also because rumours spread so fast on cruise ships, like if you're seen to walk home from the crew bar with someone, it's assumed that you're sleeping together, let alone if people see you go on a date together. So if you want to keep any kind of relationship or situationship secret, you can't do that. You can't go on a date and keep it secret. And as I have mentioned in a lot of my advice videos about dating on board, you should keep it secret, because the more people know, the more people feel that they're entitled to an opinion on your situation. So because of all of that, dating isn't really a thing. And the relationship, if you get into one, will generally start as a hookup after a night at crew bar. Number 2, unless you are sleeping with an officer or someone who is quite senior on board, you will be sharing a cabin, and so will your partner. And this means that you have roommates to contend with. So it kind of takes the passion out of the start of a relationship, because you're not really able to be as spontaneous as you might like. Basically what I'm getting at is a sex schedule. Because you're going to have to arrange it with your roommates that they get out the cabin when you want to have some fun, or maybe you get out the cabin when they want to have some fun, and vice versa. It makes it difficult to just seize the moment and be like, oh, I really want you now. It's like, well, we're going to have the cabin in 4 hours. I don't necessarily have any advice for this, but it's just something to bear in mind. Like, having a roommate really can make things less exciting, I guess, and definitely less spontaneous. Hopefully you have a really understanding roommate and, you know, you're able to have a good relationship with them in terms of can you get out, or and you know, they will ask you the same. But generally, you know, you can't just kick someone out of the cabin because you want to have some fun, but it is more acceptable if you have a pre-arranged time. So having a sex schedule is something that everyone who works on ships will have experienced, and it's rubbish. You know, no one wants that, but it is just it's just what comes with having a roommate, unfortunately, which is why so many people go for officers. I mean, guys go for women who are officers and girls go for men who are officers, and it's because having your own cabin literally makes the world of difference to the excitement of your relationship. It really does. So I'm not saying purposely go for an officer for that, but I am saying that that's why people do it. Number 3, rumours spread fast. So kind of going back to number 1, you know, if you're seen to be going out on a date, rumours are going to spread incredibly fast. And even if you just walk home from crew bar together, there's going to be rumours about you. Now, when you first start seeing someone, the last thing you want is the Greek chorus chiming in, because 9 times out of 10 you're probably not even sure what it is yet, so you don't want everyone else putting pressure on it by asking questions. So it is advised to keep it as secret as possible, because also another thing is, let's say you start seeing someone and you make it known that you're seeing that person and it doesn't work out. You're going to start seeing someone else, and then what if that doesn't work out? Well, you're going to start seeing someone else, and basically you're going to start to get a reputation, because it's a cruise ship. It's a very small environment. Anyone who lives in a small town will understand this. It's very easy to get a reputation in a small town. It's very easy to get a reputation on a cruise ship. where there's like 800 to 1,000 crew members. So for that reason, and also to take the pressure off whatever situation you are in, just keep it quiet. Maybe tell 1 or 2 people that you trust, but like, you don't owe anyone anything, and until you figure out what's going on with the person, I would just keep your mouth shut, because it will make your life easier, it will make the relationship better. The only person that is going to have to know is your roommate, because going back to number 2, the sex schedule. So, you know, again, it's really, really important that you trust your roommate, and it really sucks if you can't trust your roommate, but you know, trust works both ways. So hopefully if you kind of prove yourself to them, they will prove yourself to you, and they will keep your secret. But yeah, your roommate is the only one who like will obviously find out. Number 4, you are always in the honeymoon phase. Like, you're on a cruise ship, you have your meals prepared for you. Okay, it's in the mess, but like, you don't have to discuss who's gonna cook tonight. There's not some crazy commute to work. You don't have to wash the dishes. Like, you don't have any of the boring life stuff that you have to discuss when you're in a relationship. You might be seeing someone on land, and you might live like 2 hours away from each other. On a cruise ship, the maximum is going to be 10 minutes. It's going to be a 10-minute walk to their cabin, and that's on a big, big, big ship. It's so easy to be with each other, and then to top it off, every single day you're in a new, exotic, beautiful location. You're not having your dates at Pizza Hut, you're having your dates in Cannes, in Ibiza, in Tuscany. Like, it's ridiculous in that sense if you think about it. And for those reasons, you are always in the honeymoon phase. So like, when I see couples fighting, and on the one hand, like, who the hell am I to have an opinion on someone else's relationship? But I'm going to. When I see couples and they're constantly fighting on a cruise ship, I'm like, how the hell are you going to make this work on land when you actually have like real stuff to argue about, you know? And another thing as well, like, there's only 1 crew bar on board, and 9 times out of 10, if you're in a relationship, everyone is going to know that you're in a relationship. So there's no real jealousy. Like, if this guy goes to if the guy you're with or the girl you're with goes to the crew bar, 1, you know where he is. 2, you know that there's a drinking limit, and you know that if anything happens, like, you're gonna hear about it. So probably nothing's gonna happen. It's just very, very easy to be with someone on a cruise ship, which is great, which is wonderful. But this leads on to number 5, which is you never really know them because of always being in the honeymoon phase. Like, you don't know how they deal with money. Like, you don't know how they are with drinking and drugs when they're not on a cruise ship, because no one does drugs on a cruise ship, because we get randomly drug tested. And when we drink, yes, okay, people go over the drinking limit, but like, there's still a limit in your head, because you know that you have to make it back to your cabin without being seen by security. So you can't go absolutely off the rails. So how is this person when there isn't a drinking limit in place? Is this person good with money? Like, you don't have to pay rent, you don't have to pay for any bills. I mean, if you're on Virgin, you don't even have to pay for food in the restaurants. So like, you don't know how this person is when it comes to paying bills, and like, all of this stuff that is very important when it comes to creating a long-term relationship with someone. You will not know any of that. You don't know how this person deals with stress. You don't know how this person treats their family, or what kind of relationship they have with their family. I'm sure they will have told you about it, but you only know what they have told you, and everyone likes to paint a nice picture of themselves, don't they? What I'm getting at is, don't think you know someone. Like, I don't care, you could have been with them for 5 years, you know, you could have been really lucky and got every single cruise ship together. If you've only known them on a cruise ship, you still have a lot to learn about that person, because it's not that when they go home that they change, it's that when you're at home, there's a whole different set of things that you have to deal with. And it's really important to know how people deal with those things. Like, I knew this girl who'd actually done that, you know, she'd been with her boyfriend for 3 years, but they'd only been together on a cruise ship. and they got engaged. Wonderful, amazing. They quit cruise ships. They moved, I think, to the UK, got a house together, and 6 months later they broke up. When I spoke to her, it wasn't like he was the bad guy. She was like, we just didn't know each other. Like, we're compatible on ships and not compatible on land at all. And she was like, I really wish that I had have taken the time to learn that earlier. Wonderful to always be in the honeymoon phase. However, it's really important that if you are in a committed relationship with someone, you take the time to get to know them when you're on vacation on land. Number 6, a relationship on cruise ships is really, really intense for a number of reasons. So 1, if you're seeing someone on land, realistically you're probably going to see them maybe 2 or 3 times a week if you really, really like them. If you're seeing someone on a ship and you really like them, you're going to see them every single day. Even if you don't mean to see them every day, like, you're going to bump into them on the A1A or on the I-95. You're going to bump into them in the mess or at work or something, or at crew bar. And also, but if you really like someone, you want to see them all the time. And there's no reason you can't on a cruise ship, because, like I said, your cabins are probably 3 minutes away from each other. You both have to eat in the mess. There's no reason not to see each other. Now, because you will most likely see each other every single day, things move very, very, very quickly. So if you've been with someone for 6 months on land, that is the same as 4 weeks on a cruise ship. So if you have been with someone for 4 months on a cruise ship during your contract, that is the same as being with someone for 2 years on land. Because you see each other every day, and I'm going to contradict myself now, you get to know them so well. Yes, of course, there is still a lot to learn about that person on land, but like, you do get to know them very, very intimately in a very short space of time. Like, it would normally take 2 years to get to know someone the way that you have in 4 months. Even with friendships, like me and Yulia, for example. Yulia is from Ukraine. We joined the Scarlet Lady together, so we had the contract on the Scarlet Lady together, and we've had the contract on the Valiant Lady together. So we have known each other just over a year. I feel like I've known her my whole life. Like, I consider her as good of a friend as people that I have known for 15 years. So yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy. And like romantic relationships, it moves very, very, very fast. And another reason that it's intense is because you're on a cruise ship. You're away from all of your friends and family back home. You're in a strange environment. So you do kind of latch on to any constant in your life that you have, because there's so much change that's going on constantly on cruise ships, that if you find someone that is a constant, it's addictive and you do get attached to it. It's lovely, but that is also another reason that you become so attached to someone. It's like trauma bonding, isn't it? You know, you're both a little bit traumatized if you come on a cruise ship, because you are in a completely new environment and there's so much to learn, and you come together in that. So anyway, it's really intense dating on a cruise ship. Number 7, something that I am going to advise you guys do is definitely take it for what it is. So because relationships start as hookups and no one comes on a cruise ship really looking for a relationship, not many of them turn into relationships. Now obviously we've all heard of those people that have met their partner on cruise ships, so they live happily ever after, they leave cruise ships, they get married, they get a house, they get a dog, they have kids, it's all great. But that really is a very, very small percentage. There are a lot of people who get into situationships and relationships on board that end when the contract ends, because they're from, you know, they're both from a different country, or maybe they both have different religions. Like, it's fine while you're on the cruise ship, but like, you couldn't take that relationship at home because their family just wouldn't approve of you, because maybe you're not the same religion or culture as they are. So there's a lot of like complicated factors that come into it, but the safest bet is to just take it for what it is. Assumptions. So as I said, rumours spread fast. People are going to make assumptions. Even if you do a really good job of keeping it secret, I'm like sure that stuff will get out. It's just how it is on cruise ships. Now, the best way to deal with people having assumptions or having comments or anything, because people will pass their opinion to you. One, you have to identify, is this an actual friend who cares about my well-being and they're asking from a caring place, or is this someone who just wants to know the latest gossip? And there's a huge difference. If it is your friend coming from a good place but you still don't want to tell her, because I know I've been in this situation, you know, you don't want to tell her because basically the less you know, like, you are then unable to accidentally spread any gossip. So if it's a friend, you can obviously politely say, look, I get that you care about me and that's why you're asking, but I will let you know when I am ready to let you know. And if they are a true friend, they will be like, cool, like, as long as you're okay, I don't care. So tell me whenever you're ready, if ever you're ready. If it's someone who wants to know the latest gossip, and believe me, you will encounter a lot of this, you are welcome to lie to them. It's okay. If they come straight out and ask, oh, are you seeing Ben? You are allowed to say no, even though it is a complete lie, because you are seeing Ben. You don't owe them anything. Because obviously if you go, that's none of your business, and what, it's a yes. Just lie. And this is probably one of the very few situations that I would advise just cold-faced lying about. But really, it is the only way to get these people off your back. No, what you heard isn't true. Oh, you saw me eating with them in the mess. Well, yeah, I eat with a lot of people in the mess. Oh, you saw me leaving crew bar with him. Oh, well, I leave crew bar with girls and boys sometimes. You know, like, or, oh, well, we just left at the same time. Like, basically, it's really shit to have rumours. It's really shit to have assumptions made, especially when you're in a new situation. So it's just better if there aren't any. And sometimes the only way to ensure that there aren't any is to just kill any speculation, which is by just saying no. Number 9, people don't care if you're single or not. Now, what I mean by this, when I went on a cruise ship, well, normally when girls go on cruise ships, you will get messages from guys because you're like fresh meat when you first get on board. So when I first got on board one of my cruise ships, I was getting messages from people, and there was this one guy that was quite persistent, and I was like, I have a boyfriend, I don't want anything to do with this. And he was like, is your boyfriend here? I was like, no. He was like, oh, well, that's fine then, like, it doesn't matter. And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean it doesn't matter? And he was like, well, if your boyfriend isn't here, then basically, like, I don't care. Because unfortunately, a lot of people are married at home, but they have another girlfriend or boyfriend when they come on cruise ships. So the only person that needs to respect your relationship is you. Because, again, this used to be something that annoyed me, is like, if I was seeing someone and then I saw another girl flirting with the guy I was with, I'd get really pissed off, as, you know, normal humans do. But now, that's just how cruise ships are. And you know what? The two people that are in the relationship are the only people who need to have respect for the relationship. And there will be people who are trying to get with both of you, but you just have to trust that the person you're with doesn't want to and wants to be with you. And if you don't trust that, then probably don't be with them. But yeah, it was quite a shock when I came on board to find out that people really don't care whether you have 5 husbands or no husbands. All they care about is, are they on the ship? Because being on a cruise ship is like being in your own little world. Number 10, breakups. So there's 2 things. Either you break up during your contract. Now this is really crap because you still have to see each other every single day. As I said earlier, even if you don't plan to see them every single day, you will see them every day because you're going to bump into each other in the mess or on the I-95 or whatever. And it's so hard to have to see someone that you've broken up with. And especially if they move on really fast and you also have to watch them get into a new relationship. It is the most painful thing ever. And you also have people talking about it to you, at you, and you just can't escape it. So it really is awful when you break up during your contract and you still have to see them. And then there's the other thing where you break up at the end of your contract, not because you hate them, because of circumstances. And this has happened to me more times than I'd like to say. Pretty much all of the people that I have been with and then not been with is because our contract ended. So we broke up not because we didn't like each other or we had upset each other, but just because of circumstances. It was like, okay, well, you're from the other side of the world. We're actually not going to be on the same ship for the next contract. So it's like, it's really difficult to try and get over someone that you don't have an issue with, and you've just spent this incredible 6 months with, having dates in Cannes and Tuscany and or the Caribbean or these beautiful places. It's like, okay, so I'm completely in love with you and we've just had the best 6 months of my life, and now I just have to get over you. And sometimes I think it must be, obviously it's awful to get your heart broken, but like, how nice to have to get over someone who's treated you like shit. Because it is really hard to get over someone when they haven't done anything and the only reason you're not together is because of your circumstances. So yeah, breakups are just really, really hard. And because it's really intense on a ship, you might have only been together for 4 months, but what did I say? That's like a 2-year relationship on land. And people don't get that. Like, you're gonna go home and you're gonna be really upset about the fact that you're not with this guy anymore, and your friends are gonna be like, oh my god, get a grip, like you were with him for 4 months. But they don't understand that you're basically grieving a 2-year relationship. Like, no one would tell you to get a grip if you were getting over an actual 2-year relationship. But us cruise ship crew understand, so, you know, it is shit, but it's just part of it, I'm afraid. But I hope that, you know, whatever relationship you get into, you don't break up. Ever. Fingers crossed, eh? But anyway, those are the 10 things that I wish I knew about relationships before working on cruise ships. I hope you have found that helpful. I hope you get into a wonderful relationship or situationship on whatever cruise ship you are going on, and they treat you wonderfully and you have an amazing time and you never break up and you get married and he finds your glass slipper and puts it on your foot and you have kids and you just live the best life ever. But just in case you don't, that's my advice for you. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and also thank you to everyone who is subscribed. I just can't believe that there's this many of you here, and it really blows my mind, and I love you all so much. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing and liking the video because it helps me out with the algorithm. But yeah, I will see you in the next video, guys. Thank you again.